I think New York is one of the backbones of the series between Beverly Hills and New York. I think need to always be the strongest ones. And New York is still good, but I don't like the age gap in women. Like between Leah, who I love Leah, then hanging out with just the age gap is just a little strange to me.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
You casted the show. So what do you think of that age gap? Is it weird? Is it good?
I think honestly, and I'm not saying it's because it's me, they should have asked me to come back 3 or 4 years ago. When all of those failed, and they did, they were terrible seasons. They should have either had me back when Beth tried to get me to come back, and I probably wouldn't have, with Bethany, you know what I mean, to try to rekindle that friendship, which the fans were so upset by. Mm-hmm. And if I was a producer, I would have tried to make that happen. But when Bethany left I'm still very close with the girls, with Luann, with Ramona. I spoke to Ramona yesterday. We love and hate each other at the same time. And Sonia and the girls had asked Bravo to bring me back. And at that time, I might have considered it. In fact, I wanted to when they had gotten rid of Tinsley, not gotten rid of, she left. They had a space for 2 months to finish the season. I would have loved that, just to come in and get out. And Dorinda blocked me. I was surprised. She didn't want me on.
Why did she block you?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her.
Really?
Did.
She just didn't
want... And believe me, that comes up in the mashup.
Now, would you...
On that mashup.
So does this mean that you're still open to going back on at some point if it feels right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say if it felt right and it was good for my brand. Yeah.
Because there is no better platform than a Real Housewives show to sell all your other products.
Couldn't agree more. So, but I don't really want to be a full-time housewife because I live in Florida. I'd like to be an in-and-out housewife. But I think they need me. First of all, they all connected to me. Even Ebony, within 5 minutes of her first intro, said, I met Luann at Jill Zarin's party. She was at my party. I know her. They all know me, and I'm not saying that like an ego thing, but Housewives of New York, for whatever reason, most of them, not all of them, I didn't know Carol. I didn't know the girl they brought on after me with this shapewear line. What's her name? Got her name. I didn't know some of them. I didn't know a lot of the new ones, but they all disappeared. They all left. It didn't work. The best ones are the OGs. Those are the ones, or the ones in the beginning. I consider Kelly an OG, even though she came on season 2 or 3. I think that they, if they want to fix New York, they either fire everyone and start over with a younger group of 30-year-olds who have children and husbands. You've got to get families back on. The reason why I work is because I come with my sister, my mother, my father, my boyfriend, and my daughter. All the other girls don't bring anybody. Ramona brings her daughter a little bit. Luann definitely did bring her children a little bit, whatever. But I bring the whole mishpucha. And I think that's what people miss, is that family love and that family dynamic. But you know what? They're not going to listen to me. And that's, they're taking it off the air for 1.5 years. And I don't know. By then, Ramona's going to be 67. She's turned 65 this year. At what age are you too old? I don't know. Is there an age you're too old? I don't think so. I think Ramona could go on and on and on. I was in the dentist office today and I swear I heard her voice on TV and it wasn't her, but it was her voice is so recognizable. How could you give that up? Why would you give? I think she should come back, and I think Luann should come back, and I think Sonia should come back. I think Dorinda should come back.
So looking at all the different franchises, all the personalities, you've mentioned quite a few of them right now. Who do you feel like is the all-time best Real Housewife, excluding yourself, across all the franchise? Just the one that personified it all, had the best storylines, may not be on any of the shows anymore, but just the best Real Housewife.
I think there were a few. Definitely Bethany is up there, right? With her one-liners and all of it. Lisa Vanderpump, again, iconic. Luann. Without Luann, you wouldn't have Money Can't Buy You Class, right? You wouldn't have Giovanni. All those songs are iconic and make the show what it is. Kim Zolciak, Tardy for the Party. How could you even think back in history without Tardy for the Party, right? And I bet people don't think about her now, but that was the iconicness, right? Marisol from Miami and her mother, iconic, you know?
I love it. How did you land on Real Housewives? Like, what was the auditioning or whatever?
There was no audition, and it wasn't called The Real Housewives. They called me on the phone. They literally left a message on my machine. And they said, we're a production company. We produce Super Nanny. And we're casting for a TV show about women and their kids in New York City in private schools. If you're interested, call us. That was it. They called me. Hollywood called. Hollywood called.
And how'd they find you?
Good question. So there was a website that back then was a big deal, but now there's so many others, called New York Social Diary.
New York Social. Okay, I remember that one.
Do you remember that one? I don't know if
that was a good one. Yeah,
that was the socialite, newspaper online. So if you wanted to know, other than Wire Image, which was like the back end, most people don't know Wire Image. If you want to know what parties are going on in the world, just go to Wire Image and it'll tell you everything going on. If you look at last year, you can pretty much know it's going to anniversary this year. But for people who don't know that, they would go to New York Social Diary and it would talk about what happened last night and who was there and whose photos. And it was a charity event called Outrageous. And it was mothers and their children doing art together with famous artists. And then they would sell the art and the money would go to charity. Jeff Koons was there. I have photos of Allison doing the Incredible Hulk with him on the floor, painting it. And then that sold for about $260,000, and now it's worth probably $2 million.
Wow.
So, and my friend bought it. I know who bought it. Actually, I take that back. The Hulk went for $65,000, and Larry Gorgazian bought it on the phone. That was the first year of Outrageous. This is a long time ago, right? 15 years ago. So they saw a picture of Allie and I on there, and they literally went 911 or 411. They looked me up on the phone book. And I had an answering machine. I didn't have a cell phone. Maybe I had a cell phone. I didn't use it. I had a phone. I had to press the button. And I saved the tape for a long time, but I'm sure it's gone now.
That's so funny. And that changed your life. I mean, absolutely.
Changed my life. How about it changed Luann and Bethany's life? Because guess who got them to do it? Bethany didn't want to do it, and I begged her to do it, and I begged Andy to pick her because he didn't want her because she had done The Apprentice, and he thought that because she was already on TV, they wanted unknowns, real unknowns. And I had to, and it's funny. He was once asked, "Who called you the most?" This is a long time ago. He said, "Jill Zarin." They should have followed up with, "Why did she call you?" To beg him to get Bethany on the show.
Well,
and then Luann, I introduced them to Luann.
Dang.
And Ramona, they found because I brought the film crew to an event I was going to, and they saw her there.
Your first season of Housewives, how much were you paid?
$7,500 for the entire thing.
Per episode, for the whole season?
All season, 9 episodes. And then we got $5,000 for the reunion.
Seriously, that's all they paid you for the entire season? And if I remember correctly, that season took off, right?
The thing. And we do not get residuals. I don't think people realize that. It is not a SAG show. We sign up, we get paid for the show, and that's it. They keep all the money for whatever. But you know what? My husband owns Zarin Fabrics. My feeling was I couldn't pay enough to be on TV. I would pay money to be on a commercial for Zarin Fabrics. Even today, I have nothing to do with Zarin Fabrics since Bobby passed away, but even today, fans go to the store, people go to the store. It's iconic. It's on the map in New York to go visit for housewives places. So that was worth it just for that.
How much do you think the girls are making now per season?
Over 7 figures.
Over 7
figures.
The
OGs for sure making. I think some of them are making $2 million. But not from New York. I think Atlanta, maybe $3 million. A lot.
With that, is their wardrobe paid for?
No.
Is it bonus? So they still have to pay for their own wardrobe.
Yeah.
But I got to think that there's still people gifting them stuff to wear on the show. Let's be realistic.
I think it depends on the celebrity. It depends on how good they are at relationships. Clearly Giovanni did, right? There's a couple of good ones. I've been very lucky. I've had some great companies, you know, give me clothes or lend me clothes for when I need it.
Yeah. So if you were to come back and if you do the friend role, how much do usually people get paid for the friend role per episode?
No idea.
How does that work?
I have no idea. I think they've changed over the years. They've had years where they pay per episode. They've had years where they paid per season. You know, now I understand that there are clauses. I heard that, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that there's a clause, like a behavior clause. Like if you're a good girl and you don't make problems, you get a bonus.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Could you imagine grown women, 50, 60-year-old women can't behave themselves, that they have to actually incentivize them to behave?